everybody, how is it going? It is your pal, Sal here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my review of The Devil Wears Prada, which is currently having its pre-Broadway tryout in Chicago at the James M. Nederlander Theatre. So before we get started with this review, guys, I just want to say that this is a preview performance, so I am well aware of the fact that there are many changes that are going to be coming, that need to be coming during the course of the show's run before it goes to Broadway. So I'm thankful for that. This is just my thoughts, my feelings, nothing crazy, if you will, but I am very excited to talk about them. So before we even get started talking about the show, I want you guys to know that I'm aware of the fact that this musical is based off of a book, which was then turned into an iconic movie starring Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, and Stanley Tucci. And fun fact, I have actually never seen that movie. I've seen clips, of course, of the no, that wasn't a question, and you know, Meryl Streep is iconic, but revoke my gay card because I haven't seen it yet. I have the Blu-ray on order from the library, so I will be watching it in the coming days, if you will. And you know, there's that. So I did kind of have a unique position of getting to see this show with fresh eyes, fresh ears too, if you will. And I admired that. It was interesting to see this story, which I'm not going to dive too much into the story because I'm sure everybody out here knows it. Maybe once I watch the movie, I'll see what the differences were there, but I doubt that there were too many. So basically, I won the Broadway in Chicago ticket lottery on Saturday to see the evening performance on July 24th of 2022. And I am very grateful that I had plans earlier that day because I did not enter for the matinee. And that lucked out for me because the matinee on July 24th was canceled due to I hate saying it like this because it's funny to me every time. A breakthrough case in COVID, which it's the breakthrough part that always gets me. It makes me laugh. I'm like, they could have just said there was a case of COVID. It's not a breakthrough anymore. But I thought it was interesting because I was like, oh my God, this is they're literally in their first week, and it clearly had to be a member of the one of the leads because I'm like, they wouldn't cancel it if it was just if they could put on a swing. So the whole day I was thinking two things. Number one, please don't cancel the evening show because knowing me, it would happen on my way on the train into the city, and I was like, please don't let that happen. Number two, who was it? Like all day I kept thinking, I'm like, was it Beth Leavel? Was it the other characters? I'm like, who got COVID? So all in all, I made it to the theater, to the James M. Nederlander Theatre, and I went right to that understudy board, and I saw that it was in fact the actress playing the role of Andy Sachs, the Anne Hathaway role, who was normally on a good day, if you will, on a correct day, played by Taylor Iman James. And unfortunately, she had COVID, so she was out, and her understudy, who by the name of Jessie Hooker Bailey, was on. And this was incredible to me for many reasons. Number one, at least before COVID, it was a very rare occurrence to have an understudy go on in a pre-Broadway tryout. I mean, we know Sutton Foster's story, but that's rare. And to think that this woman had maybe the days that morning's notice is incredible to me because we'll get into this a little bit later, but her night went off without a hitch. She was incredible. If nobody had told me she was the understudy, I would have never known. So that is just, she was fantastic, and it was an honor to see her go on so early in this show's run, and again, she just slayed the scene. So with the lottery, I did end up winning tickets, and I do believe they were, I forgot the exact letter, but it was either MKL, something like that. It was mid-orchestra all the way to the right, and it was a fantastic seat, had a fantastic view. Of course, some of the right stuff was obstructed, but I don't believe I truly missed anything, so I'm not going to really worry too much about that. And you could definitely tell that a lot of people who were supposed to go to the matinee did their best to get into the night show because this Sunday night's performance was packed with people that just were desperate to see this show. And it was really cool to see a full house like that. From what I remember, I don't think I saw one empty seat, at least in the orchestra, so that was honestly incredible, and it's always cool to be in a full house. So in regards to the show, again, The Devil Wears Prada, which is having its pre-Broadway tryout. So, I mean, where do we begin? So again, I mean, the plot is simply the character of Andy Sachs is a fresh a college graduate looking for a job. She's a writer, ends up getting a job at a Runway working for, Miranda Priestley. And hijinks ensue with the devil herself who wears Prada and how mean she is, and the gays come out. I mean, there's just, you know the story. I don't think there's much point in me going into that. So where do we begin? I want to say like a couple of interesting thoughts about the show. The show opens, basically the lights go down, and then there's clicking heels that like, And then the curtain like slightly rises and like there's like, there you can see people in heels walking, and of course it's everybody in the ensemble is wearing heels. But what's funny is that everybody's dressed just basically in heels and basically wearing nude like Spanx, if you will. So if you were further away than I was, it could almost make the illusion that they were naked amongst this red light in the back. It was very, very Carrie 1988. If you combined the in sequence and the dream on sequence, it was that. It was really bizarre. But I semi-enjoyed it. And then, unfortunately, there are no song lists in the playbill, so everything I'm kind of have to say has to kind of like give it, you know, I can just kind of give it a name. The score, which was composed by Elton John and with lyrics by, and I want to make sure I get the name right, lyrics by Shaina Taub. This score, a lot of people I've seen on the Broadway message board is basically saying that Elton John phoned this shit in. And, you know, I wouldn't go as far as to say phoned in, but I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you that the score isn't as memorable as I would like it. So first of all, the character of Andy, or is it, yeah, Andy, she gets plenty of songs, all of which I think are nice. The ending song that I want to get her name right again, that Jessie had to sing at the end, I loved how she sang it. She sounded beautiful. Again, there's no song title, so I can't really give anything. One thing that I thought was interesting is the fact that the best songs, from what I read, do not go to the leads. So basically the first act ends at the point in the story when, I'm just going to say the Meryl Streep character tells Andy that she's going to take her to Paris and not the other girl, and that's basically where it ends. But before that, it's like this whole like high fashion thing in front of a curtain where everybody's saying, the devil wears Prada. The devil does wear Prada. It's just like, it's all that in there. That was the best song. And then the other best song goes to the Stanley Tucci character, who just talks about how great it is to be a gay man, how it starts off bad, but then it gets really great. And it's kind of concerning to me that in a show where we're here to see those two characters, the ensemble and the gay guy get the best songs, which you could definitely tell that Elton John was most into the gay guy song because it's the best song in the show for being like from a lyrical and composal standpoint. Which is kind of weird to think, but it also makes sense at the end of the day. So yeah, the score itself to me wasn't as memorable as I would have liked it to have been. Unfortunately, even Beth Leavel is barely given any work to do. She doesn't really have a big number until the very ending. And honestly, I didn't even think the number was up to her standards. My favorite number that she had, weirdly enough, was her first song, which was just like this like very talk-singy thing about how she's like, she can see right through Andy Sachs and she knows exactly what her life has been up until that point. It's a small song, but to me it worked the best. I don't know. So the score itself, I think they can definitely find room to improve a lot of the songs. I think that they're kind of using the Elton John name to just bring people in, because he's not even there right now. He's on tour. He's not going to be in Chicago until the opening night. So it doesn't feel very fair to the lyricist who is kind of like having to work around his melodies, and he's not there to help her out, to make this show better, which kind of feels like rude on Elton's part, especially with how active he was involved in Billy Elliot. Did he write the lyrics? Okay, no, he just wrote the music for it, but still, it just feels a little odd there. Production-wise, the staging I thought was nice. There isn't much to it. I did find that the runway set in the, the runway area, the runway, what is it called, in the skyrise, was not as extravagant as I thought it could have been. I could have been missing some of the stuff from the right side, but that could just be me. One thing, the best part about the show is that there's like these two, I don't even know how to say it. It looks like what a subway would be raised on, like, something in Chicago, like what scaffolding, if you will. And then when the show goes to Paris, the scaffolding comes down like this to like make it seem like it's the Eiffel Tower. And that I thought was really, really pretty. I did enjoy that. In terms of costuming, I don't consider myself a high fashion, person. But one thing that was very evident from reading in the message boards and then seeing it online or seeing it in person yesterday, Beth Leavel deserved a much better wardrobe than what she got. The problem I've read with the show is that everything that Beth Leavel is wearing is top designer material. The problem with that is that top designer material doesn't necessarily translate on stage. as top designer material. So a lot of her costumes just looked incredibly boring. Her first outfit that she wore was this red outfit. It honestly, if it's from a top designer, that shit looked really, really cheap. I remember thinking, I was like, that fabric does not look like something that would be high-end that Miranda would wear. So Beth Leavel is an icon, and so she deserves a proper wardrobe, or at least they should have, if they're gonna have wardrobes sent to them from the top billing designers, maybe make it so that it's what will work on stage. Already I've seen that they've changed her costumes for the curtain call. I saw that online. First it was the black dress, and then it's the red one. So that was interesting too. One thing, also fun fact, I met somebody at the show who knew me from my YouTube video, so that was fantastic. I always love meeting my fans, if you will. He told me that during Act 1, there's a scene where there's a staircase on there, and that apparently before the night I saw it, she just had this very skin-tight dress on that she and you could tell even the night I saw it that she was really struggling to walk up those steps because it was so tight, and she just looked like she was gonna fall at any time. So they're trying to hide that with this big cloak that she's wearing now, but I even noticed it too when I was sitting there, and I was like, she looks a little terrified to go up those steps, and I was like, someone save Beth Leavel, because that we can't have her falling. So I was a little disappointed in that wardrobe choice. I will say, for Andy, I did like that you saw a wardrobe evolution with her, and the fact that she went from scary to glam to finding a balance between what she used to wear and what she learned to wear. So I did enjoy that, and I also loved a lot of her wig changes too. I thought that was great. And in terms of wigs also as well, they made the creative decision to try and to keep Beth Leavel from looking like Meryl Streep, so they didn't go with that silver gray white hair that she has in the film, and instead they went with a red wig, which was a choice, and I don't know if I stand with that choice. Some people were saying it was giving Reba. I don't know if it was necessarily giving Reba because it wasn't spiky how Reba's can be, but it's not the right look. I don't like the color of the red. People want that hair color that they saw in the movie. I mean, if they're gonna at least get one thing right, it should have been that. So I didn't really like that. Beth Leavel just deserves more. She always does. Now, in terms of the lead character, Andy, we talked about it before, who was played by Jessie Hooker Bailey. She slayed. I mean, with the moment's notice she probably had, she gave everything she had, and in my opinion, if she ever becomes the lead in the show is in good hands. Javier Muñoz, and I want to make sure I get his name, well, the Stanley Tucci character, whose name is Nigel Owens, he was fabulous too. He gets 2 good numbers. Like I said, he gets the best song, the Being Gay is Great song in Act 2, and he also gets the makeover number, in Act 1 too, which was fun. It was exactly what you thought it would be. It was funny because it was so similar to Ain't Nobody's Business If I Do from the Cher show, which premiered at the exact same theater, all those years ago. So that was fun too. Now, one of my biggest complaints actually I have about this show is the character of Andy's friends, who were given 0 to no character development. So as we all know, Andy gets this great new job, and her friends are nothing but assholes to her about it. Her friends and her boyfriend, they're like, you're not paying attention to us. We're bored with you. But the thing is that I get what they're trying to go for. They're showing that Andy's changed, but the way that the show is presented, it makes the friends just look like an annoying bunch of hipsters. And it boggled my mind especially because that was probably the 2 worst songs in the show are probably the song about being in college, and the other song that the friends have at the end of Act 1 that is trying to make us sympathize with them, but it does the exact opposite for me, at least. It's almost like the writer and Elton John were like, okay, how do we write a song about hipsters? And it came across really, really badly. I never understood why we were supposed to have the friends' point of view. I'm hoping that in the movie that the friends actually have some character development, because they were given nothing to work with here. And the actors who played them, whose names were Michael Tacconi, Tiffany Mann, and Christina Cole, they were given nothing to work with here. And the whole time I was watching, I was like, wow, they're really unsupportive of their friend who got this amazing job, who of course it's going to take up a lot of her time. Yeah, but and they live together. It's not as if they never saw her. So I was like, I don't get what's going on here. Megan Masako Haley, who played what's her character's name? The first assistant, you know what I mean? Yeah, the first assistant, that's what it's called. She was delightful, adorable to watch. She had great fashion the entire show. She gets a fun number at the beginning of Act 1 that has like a fun lyric that she hopes that when Andy goes to Paris that she gets some sort of STD from a Frenchman. I don't know why that lyric spoke to me, but I was like, okay, that's funny. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should say. Yes, so it's a pre-Broadway tryout, and it definitely needs a lot of work. I heard some people say that they preferred Act 2 over Act 1. They were both about on the same level to me. I think right now the show is currently working at a 6 out of 10. I think that leads to the talent that they have in the show, especially, having Beth Leavel in there. But one thing that really just struck me on my way out of there is that the show is called The Devil Wears Prada. So Miranda is supposed to be the devil. And the show doesn't really paint her as that. They paint her as a really, rude and annoying boss, but they try to sympathize with her in Act 2 by making it seem like she can't find an emotional connection with her daughter. And then towards the end, when she goes against everyone's backs and doesn't give the gay guy the job, or Stanley Tucci, I just know him as that role, Stanley Tucci the job. And then that came out of left field to me. And then the end, it tried to make her sympathetic again. And I was like, is she the devil? I don't know if the movie's like that and if the book it's based on is like that, because again, I'm not too familiar with that, but that's one thing I thought was interesting. I was like, this woman seems like it would be hell to work for her, but I feel like the devil is going a little too far with what they're giving me in this production. And it's a shame too, because like I said, the cast is fantastic. And even, I forgot to mention him who plays the other love interest, if you will. Where did he go? Christian Thompson. He was nice too. He has a nice number about let's be young in Paris or something like that. It was cute. But like I said, it's pre-Broadway, so we know that a lot of work is coming into it. I definitely think that the score could use a little more life in it. Even some of the fashion too. I will say during the makeover number, there was another high fashion moment where models are coming out and giving fashion, but they were all wearing, at least to what I remember, it was like bridal gowns. They were all white. And I was like, so is this specific to just brides? And again, I don't know much about the fashion world, but I was like, no, not more color. It reminds me of how Bob Mackie, when he did he's a genius. But one thing I never understood was that in the finale of the Cher show, he chose to clothe everybody in black and silver. And I was like, it's Cher. I was like, she's known for these crazy outfits, colors and everything. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, just white? I was like, nothing more there. So I think there's a lot of work that can be done with this show. I think it's fun. They got a great concept. It's something that they could easily sell to the gays, which they already did. And also, fun fact, I enjoyed it to the point where I bought a ticket actually to go see the opening night, which will be on August 7th, because I wanted to see how some of these changes that they implement will be done. From what I'm reading again on the chat boards, a lot has already been changed. Well, at least a decent amount has been changed, so that's good news there. But I think like I said, it's pre-Broadway, so it's got a lot of work to do. The last pre-Broadway show I saw, which was Paradise Square, needed a lot of work too, and unfortunately, from what I read, it didn't get a lot of that work done in between its time in Chicago and Broadway. So, who knows? I'm hoping that basically, since Elton is going to be there from the opening afterwards, that he can maybe see what the show needs and help it out with that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should say. Like I said, I think the show is going at a strong 6 out of 10. I really, really, truly do. And I think that if they can make her friends a little more sympathetic, that'll change the plot a little bit. Maybe giving Miranda some more edge. Another thing I read too is that Miranda just doesn't have much of a presence in the show, which I feel the same way too. I don't feel like I thought about her as much as I should. I wasn't as terrified as the devil as I should have been. I was honestly more terrified of her friends than I was of Miranda. So I think that that's where the show needs to do a little bit of retooling on. I honestly wish that part was just cut out. I was like, this girl is living her life. She has a great job. I don't understand why her friends are complaining. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it, a strong 6 out of 10. I am going to go to the opening night to see how things progress and, take part in the opening night, well, not the festivities, but the fun of the opening night, because I think that'll be cool, especially if Elton is there. But it's a shame, too, because you would expect more from Elton with what he did with Billy Elliot, with what he did with The Lion King, what he did with Aida. So we'll see. Only time is going to tell where The Devil Wears Prada will end up on Broadway. I'm trying to think of what theater it would end up going to, too. That'll be interesting to see in the future. You never know. So, yeah, The Devil Wears Prada is a strong 6 out of 10. If you're gay and you love the movie, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to see the flaws, but I think you'll have a nice time. I could tell that even though I'm sure not everybody in the audience thought it was perfect last night, but I had fun. I can't lie, and I'm excited to watch the movie now. As I said, I ordered it from the library. Also, coincidentally, I got the audiobook off of an app called Libby, which is what my library uses, and I actually listened to the first chapter of the book today, and it starts off with this whole plot line about how, and also Andy is a much more avid cusser in the book, which is something I learned in the first 10 minutes, but the plot is basically how she has to pick up a dog, get it to Miranda, all this crazy stuff. It seems a lot crazier than what was written in the musical, so who knows? Again, only time is going to tell, but all in all, I enjoyed The Devil Wears Prada. I recommend you go see it, as always. If you catch the understudy for Andy, hopefully I'll see the lead on opening, and then I'll know I can compare and contrast, but no matter what, you're in great hands. Beth Leavel is iconic. She deserves more, but that doesn't make her any less iconic. And I had a great time, and I hope you will too. So if you're going to see The Devil Wears Prada, let me know. If you've already seen it, what are your thoughts? Also, let me know below. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at Salvador J. Rocha, Twitter at Sal Says Stuff, and TikTok at Sal Rocha1. And I will see you guys ever so soon. Have an amazing day. Bye.